In this video, I'll be making the pattern for this side pleated blazer dress. If you are interested, please watch till the end. But first, let me start by introducing myself. Hi, my name is Lilian of Lilian Fashion Lounge, and I talk about everything fashion, pattern drafting, and many more. So let's get started. The first thing that we're going to do is to get our basic bodies. Then we're also going to be getting a skirt, so we're going to join it together. But for this one, I already had my bodies to the hip, so I just went ahead to join my skirt from the hip to the knee length, to the knee line. So after doing that, the next thing that we're going to do is to label our bodies. After labeling our bodies, I'm going to go ahead and measure the actual length of my dress, because I'm not going to be it is not going to be long. The length is not going to be to the knee, so I'm going to be measuring the actual hemline. So after measuring my hemline, on the side, I'm going to measure 3 inches on the side of my below my hip. Then I'm going to be measuring on the hemline. I'm going to be measuring 2 inches on the hemline. Now don't forget that I am measuring it for both the front and the back. For the side below the waist, you're going to measure 3 inches below the waist. Then you measure 2 inches at the hemline, coming towards the side for both the front and the back. So I'm going to be using my pencil to first of all draw it out, so that it's not going to be rough. So I'm going to be using my pencil first. Then when I'm satisfied, I'll use my marker. So I'm going to go ahead and label that part. Then I'll cut out my pattern. So after doing that, I'm going to go ahead and alterate my center back. So for to get my center back alteration, I'm going to measure my back waist. Then I'm going to connect it just like this. Then I'm going to fold it. Now this is what is called back. This is for removing any excess at the back. So that is exactly what I'm doing here. I'm trying to remove any excess that is at the back, at the center back of the dress. So I'm going to be using my tape to hold it together. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off the excess at the hem area, because we don't need it anymore. I'm going to be cutting that off. So now it's time to get our jacket. the front side of our jacket. So I'm going ahead to tape paper at the center front. Now if you are drafting yours, it's not compulsory you tape yours like this. You can decide to leave a little space while drafting your basic bodies. You can decide to leave a little space at the center front. But while I was drafting mine, I did not leave space. That's why I'm using external paper to do this. So at the center front, I'm going to be measuring 1 inch all through my center front. Then I'm going to be measuring how deep I want my lapel to be, how deep I want the neckline of my jacket to be. So there I'm going to indicate it there. So from there I'm going to, at the center front, I'm going to be measuring 1.5 inches. Now you can decide to use 2 inches depending on how wide you want your lapel to be. You can decide, if you want your lapel to be wider, you can decide to use 2 inches. You can decide to use 2.5 inches, depending. It's still going to give us the same results. But I want it to not be too wide, so I'll be using 1.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out the excess. So now from the point that I marked, I'm going to connect it back to the tip of my neckline and draw a line. So after doing that, this is how we are going to have our lapel. Can you see how that is? So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to notch my line. I'm going to be notching this line. Now this line that I'm notching now, as you can see, the lines are curved. So in order for me to be able to, for you to have an easier way to join them back together on fabric, the best thing to do is to notch it on paper, and you also notch it on fabric too. So I'm going to go ahead and start drawing my lines on the side of the pattern, as you can see me doing here. You can also do the same thing for, you can also decide to label. In fact, it is actually very important for you to label, so that when you want to bring them back, it will be easier for you to do that. So now that we are done, the next thing I'm going to be doing is to get our jacket collar. Now to get our jacket collar, there's going to be an opening. There is no jacket without opening, though it is actually optional. That little space is called notch. That is what it is called. So that is what I'm trying to recreate. That's what I'm trying to create here. So I'm going to first of all pin down the neckline to another paper, as you can see. Now at the center front, you're going to be coming up by half inch or 0.75 or 1 inch, depending on how wide you want your notch to be. But for this one, I'm using 0.75. Then you connect it back to the 1 inch that we came in by. So after doing that, on the neckline, I'm going to be drawing a slant line. Now watch how I'm going to be drawing the slant. I'm not drawing it the slant line towards the neckline. I'm drawing it towards the shoulder area. So after doing that, I'm going to measure ½ inch towards the shoulder area, and I'll draw another slant line. Now this slant line is the one that we're going to be using. The first one that I drew is going to be serving as a pointer for the second one. So after doing that, I'm going to go ahead and measure my neckline for the back. So whatever I get, I'm going to be measuring it on that slant line, and I'll mark it. So now on that back inches neckline, I'm going to be measuring 3 inches. Then I'll also mark it, and I'll connect it with a straight line. Then using my armhole curve or French curve, whatever name you decide to call it, I'm going to be connecting it as seen. So please, the next thing I did here is to label, which is very, very important. So after labeling, I'm done with drafting the pattern. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out as seen. Now, just to make sure that we know where our notch is going to stop, I'm going to be labeling it as seen, so that you're not going to be confused. Now, for beginners, this is also very important. Even as a well experienced designer, you also need to label, because this is a paper, so you might decide to forget. Sorry, you can forget your patterns also. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out the side, which is the most important part of this style. I'm going to be cutting it out. So I'm going to be employing the slash and spread method for this style. So I'm going to be placing this on another paper, and I'm going to be spreading it as seen. Now, as you can notice, I'm not spreading it too much, and that is because I don't want it to be too wide, because the style I'm going for, I don't want it to be too wide. If you want your own to be very wide, you can decide to spread it as much as possible. So I'm going to be cutting this out, and I'll be cutting the second one off camera. So we have come to the end of this video, and in my next video we are going to be talking more about the sewing part of this tutorial. So please like, share and subscribe to my channel so you can enjoy more videos like this. See you in the next one. Bye.